Oh yeah. Oh yes. Oh yes. Look at that. Hey, my name is Mark Romanack and you're watching Fishing 411. We're on location at Red Pine Lodge up in Ivanhoe Lake. Stick around and we'll show you how you can catch some walleyes like this for yourself. Now that is a dandy.
Offshore Tackle presents Fishing 411 with Mark Romanack.
Gobbled up there. Look at that, he's in the bag. Look at this!
Fishing 411 is brought to you by Offshore Tackle, the leader in trolling technology. Okuma, high performance. Vicious Fishing. Northwest Ontario Tourism, there's no place like this. Jay's Sporting Goods, get in gear. And by Yakima, home of the rooster tail.
That one wasn't going to get away. But he's going back right now. Let's put her back in the drink. All right. Put you right back there, Miss Mama. Oh, away it goes. That's a good start, man. That's a very good start. This week's episode was filmed at a place called Red Pine Lodge. It's on Ivanhoe Lake and it's in the middle of what we call Algoma country. And this is one of literally thousands of lakes in this region that have really good walleye fishing. Geographically, this is just a little bit east of the town of Chapleau, right off Highway 101. One of the things I like about Red Pine Lodge is that everything is all self-contained here. You can drive right to the facility. You've got your cabins there that they rent. They have American Plan if you prefer. They've got a campground here if you'd like to camp. They've got a little camp store that's got all the supplies that you forgot from home that's right here handy for you. And for me, even more importantly, there's fuel right on location. So I don't have to leave Red Pine Lodge. Everything I need once I get here is right here. Everything I want for fishing is right here at Red Pine. Let's flesh this out a little bit and talk about some of the refinements of trolling. You can see that I'm fishing out of my Freedom today. This is a tiller operated boat. I've got a little 75 E-Tech on here. And I can idle this motor down very nicely to about 2 miles an hour. So for power trolling, what we're doing with crankbaits, I can get down as slow as I need to go here. If I do need to go a little bit slower, we also have an electric motor on the boat, on the bow, and I could be trolling with the electric motor if I needed to get a little bit slower. But for all intents and purposes, during the summertime, most of your power trolling is going to be done with your primary outboard, or if you prefer, you can do it with a small gasoline kicker. And we're into another one. Man, I literally just put that rod in gear, put the board on, let it go out to the side, and I literally just hooked it up. Man. Let's see if we can get this thing in here. Get the board off real quick. Now I gotta reel like crazy to catch up to it. Oh yeah, we're tight on now. The way the wind's blowing here, I'm just gonna let the wind kind of just blow us and kind of just drift us down here. This will be fine. Uh-oh, I think this one might be a pike. Too early to tell. Yep, it is. It's a good pike. Very good pike. They mix right together here. I'm gonna bring it around this way. It's a nice pike. If I get my hands on that one. Yes. Nice eater-sized pike right there. So pike and walleye. Let's put this one back. Let him go. And we'll see a little bit about, there he goes. Let's see about getting reset up again here. The focus, suspended fish. Something you just don't think about in Canada. Most people think of Canada, they think of structure fishing, fishing on the bottom, and lots of times that is the answer. But in the middle of the summer like this, a lot of these lakes will produce suspended pike and suspended walleye. And they're a riot to catch.
Additional considerations provided by Evinrude Outboards and Starcraft Marine. Additional considerations provided by Ontario's Algoma Country.
Suspended fish can be fickle. Sometimes they're difficult to get to bite. It's just that simple. And so there's some little things, some refinements that you can do to help these fish, help put a few more of them in the boat. Just putting the boat in gear and going on a steady speed and trolling in a certain direction may catch them some days, but more often than not, it doesn't. Usually what it takes to trigger these fish is it takes a start and stop presentation. You can do that just simply by putting your gear, your motor in gear and taking it into neutral, putting it back into gear, back and forth, and doing that periodically. What I'm doing here is my straight, steady speed going into the wind is about 2 miles an hour. And I'll go along steady like that for a few minutes, and then I'll just put the thing in neutral for a second. Just a few seconds, and I can watch my speed drop right back down to 1.5, just a matter of seconds like that, and put it right back in gear again. So what that's doing is it's getting these baits are working, and then when you put it in neutral, they just stop for a second, and they maybe kind of just drift up a little bit, and as soon as you take off again, they start digging again. And that's when you're going to get bit. You're going to get bit when these baits start to work again. So a start and stop presentation really helps crank these fish up, particularly these suspended fish. They're maybe not in as good a biting mood as we would like. You know, speeding up and slowing down will help trigger fish. There's other things that you can do to also trigger fish, and one of the things I'd recommend is driving the boat in a little bit of an S-curve pattern. When you're turning the boat, what's happening is one side of the boat is speeding up. The lures on one side are speeding up. The other side of the boat is slowing down. And you can monitor that, because if you're getting bit on the inside, the slow side, your average trolling speed is probably too fast. If you're getting bit on the outside, the speeding up side, your average trolling speed is probably too slow. So by driving in S-curves, you can kind of monitor what the best overall average trolling speed should be. There's a fish. All right, that's what we like to have. Clearboard trolling is pretty unique. It's not something you see a lot in Canada. Most of the people up here live bait rigging, and if they do troll, they're just flatline trolling. But planer boards serve a viable, a very valuable purpose in helping you spread out your lines. And boy, I tell you what, it does make it easy to tell when you got a bite. Well, flag goes down and that board rockets back. Oh yeah. There's a strategy for fighting fish on crankbaits too that's important to mention. It's just slow and steady is really what it's all about. And we got a lot of line out. In this instance, I had 200 feet of line back in order to get the crankbait to the depth that I really was trying to get it to. That's a lot of line out. And so what you have to do is just slow and steady keep reeling these fish. You don't want to pump on the rod a lot because that puts a lot of pressure on the fish. It potentially can just tear the fish right off. So I'm just going to slow, steady, keep reeling this fish. As it gets closer, it'll start realizing it's hooked, and it'll start maybe getting to the point where it's going to start really tugging and pulling. And when that happens, then I'll have to stop reeling, let the fish run, and then when he stops running, then I'll start reeling again. But for right now, he's just kind of coming towards me. I'm pretty sure he doesn't realize what he's about to get into. Oh, there he goes. Now he's starting to struggle. Now he's awake. Oh, nice pike. So we're gonna bring him up here. There we go. Just a nice pike. About the right size for the table if you're inclined to eat one. We're gonna let this one go. Away he goes. So how do you find suspended fish? Actually, in these Canadian lakes, suspended fish are easier to find than you might imagine. Obviously, you're going to need good sonar to be able to pinpoint the locations of these fish in the water column. But it starts with a lake map. With a lake map, you can pinpoint the deeper basins of the lake. And that is most of the time where you're going to find suspended fish. In any given body of water, the deeper basins is where these fish are going to suspend. Why are they suspending over the deeper basins? Because that's where the forage is at. The type of forage that these fish are looking for are called ciscos. Some people call them tullibees. And they're a cool water fish. They like cold water. So they tend to seek out the deeper parts of the lake, and they tend to suspend down 20 to 40 feet below the surface. And not surprisingly, that's where the pike and that's where the walleyes go. They suspend right with the tullibees.
Fishing 411 is brought to you in part by Precision Trolling Data, the Troller's Bible, now available in an app. Mark Romanack's Fishing 411 is brought to you in part by O.J. Herman Company.
When we first arrived in camp, there was a major cold front sitting right here. Cold fronts and crankbait trolling are two things that don't go together hand in hand. And we went out and we tried and we really struggled. We caught a few fish, but early on, although we could see the fish suspended on the graph, we weren't having a lot of success in catching them, just a few. And then gradually, as the cold front passed and the weather stabilized and got warmer again, man, the bite heated up and it got on fire. Nothing covers water better than trolling. Quick glance at the counter to confirm that what lead length it is, so I can duplicate that. Now that I know what lead length is getting these baits where the fish want to eat them, obviously I want to duplicate that. And that is the beauty of a line counter reel. They are just absolutely critical pieces of equipment here. What do we got this time? Another nice walleye, looks like. Oh yeah, look at that. That's a beautiful thing right there. That is a beautiful thing. Look at that fish. Whoa, that wasn't my best landing job. Kind of tricky doing this by yourself. He's awake now if he wasn't before. Let's try that again. That was a little bit better. Okay, we'll put that landing job in the outtakes. Nice quality fish right there. That's the way you do it. Just hop right out of that landing net, buddy. Oh, that's a beautiful walleye. Man, I love them. What a beautiful fish. Let you go back to the deep where you came from. You know, one of the most common questions I'm asked about crankbaits is, doesn't speed influence on diving depth? And actually, it doesn't. A floating diving crankbait, like the one I have in my hand, speed is not going to determine how deep it dives. What happens is you increase speed, you're making the lure dig a little harder and it's trying to dive deeper. But at the very same time, you're increasing friction on the fishing line and the two forces counteract one another. So what happens by speeding up or slowing down, you're not changing the depth that the lure is running at. What you are changing is the action of the lure. Some lures have better action at high speeds, some lures have better actions at slow speeds. So one of the refinements in trolling is to experiment with speed until you find one that the fish seem to like and that you get the best action out of any particular lure. Keep in mind, speed on a floating crankbait isn't going to influence the depth, only the action. Well, as we talked about before, if you're fishing a crankbait and you don't know how deep it's diving below the surface, you're kind of fishing blind. And crankbait trolling is very critical that you know where in the water column your lures are. Most people have no clue where their lures dive. And so what we're using here are these Precision Trolling Data dive curve stickers. And what it is, it's a simple XY graph that shows you how deep your lure runs below the surface based on line diameter and also based on how much line you're playing out behind the back of the boat. In this particular illustration, there's two dive curves on here. The blue one is a monofilament dive curve and the red one is a braided dive curve. The red dive curve runs deeper because its thinner line has less friction in the water. So at a glance here, we've been fishing about 100 feet of line out, which in this instance is going to get you down right around 20 to 21 feet, right about where we've been marking the majority of our suspended fish. So at a glance at this, I can tell exactly how much line I need to let out to get my lure to the fish, you know, that we're spotting on the sonar. Precision Trolling Data, it saves a lot of time and allows you to kind of like putting gun sights on your crankbaits. It lets you aim them right to where the fish are in the water column. Hey, there's a fish. Take that old bait clicker off there. This is going to be interesting because we're trolling across the sea. Normally I like to troll either with the waves or against the waves, but we're following a contour of a shoreline here, so we're kind of going right in the across the grain here. It's one of the nice things about these things right here. I got here. It's a hand control to be able to control the electric motor. I just basically put it in autopilot, and I've got it just going one steady direction here for me, so it keeps the boat under control while I'm doing what I'm doing here. This fish staying down nice. I wonder what this one's going to be here. Let me see here. It looks like it might be the animal we're looking for here. Yes, it is. A beautiful walleye. Absolutely beautiful walleye. Let me see if I can get him up here by the landing net. Come on this way. There we go, in the bucket. Not bad. Not bad. That's one of my favorite things to do is troll for walleyes with crankbaits. And that's a pretty nice fish right there. That is a very nice fish. Look how dark and beautiful it is. I can't explain why this is, but historically I've just come to the conclusion that crankbaits catch bigger walleyes than live bait rigs. And it's not always true, but more days than not, if you can catch them on a crankbait, you're going to catch an average size fish that's a little bigger than what you catch in a jig or a rig or a spinner. And that is an excellent Ivanhoe Lake walleye right there. Just what we're looking for. We'll get her right back so someone else can catch her. What a sweet fish. See you, baby.
Additional considerations provided by Lowrance Electronics. Find, navigate, dominate. Additional considerations provided by Mustang Survival. We save lives for a living, and Bait Rigs Tackle.
Look at that. There's a fish. That's what we're looking for. The sun's kind of going down here. We've had a good day. This has been a lot of fun. These open water fish tend to be much bigger than the ones that you get off the points and stuff. Come to pop up. There we go. God, that's a toad. That is a toad. These open water fish here become what I call pelagic. What that means is they start to suspend in the water column, and the reason they're doing it is they're chasing forage that's suspended in the water column. The bigger they get, like this large walleye here, the more likely they're going to suspend because they're looking for a big meal. They're looking for forages that give them a good solid belly full. And lakes like this that have, you know, things like Cisco, or what people call tullibees sometimes, is a classic example of a forage that's going to suspend. When they're suspended forage, walleyes are going to suspend as well. What a beautiful fish. Big walleyes like this are the spawning stock in a lake like this. This one's going back. We'll see you another time, buddy. There he goes. Hey, I love it. Walleyes suspended. You would never think it happens up here in Ontario, but believe me, it happens, and it happens in a big way. All right. The bite is definitely heating up here. Oh, this is a bigger fish. As soon as I come tight on him, this is definitely a bigger fish. It could be a walleye or it could be a pike. These species are going to mix together. And if you think about it, it makes perfect sense. Why are they mixing? It's because they're eating exactly the same forage. And wherever you find these suspended minnows, in this case, we're talking about Cisco's that are in this particular lake. Both the pike and walleye are going to take advantage of that. Yeah. We haven't caught any real, truly big pike yet, but they are here. Got a mouthful of crankbait, don't he? All right. Yes. Holy smokes, he had all of the hooks in him. I actually feel sorry for this little puppy. All right, back he goes. He fooled me. Wow. Whatever this is, it's a pretty decent fish. Oh, that is a beautiful walleye. I'll take that as a consolation prize any day. We just lost a monster at the back of the boat, probably 29, 30 inches. This one's gonna be in that 25, 26, maybe 27 inches. But spectacular walleye. Anybody would be happy to catch a walleye like that. And to catch him out in the middle of nowhere, suspended down 20 feet, down over 40 to 45 feet of water. Who'd have thunk? Who'd go looking for him there? Toad. And back he goes. This fish just pinned the board. And this is definitely pulled tight like a bowstring. Get that off there. Definitely tight on this fish. Now it's just a waiting game to see what it is. Another one of these big toothy pike or big toothy walleye. We've seen walleyes up to 30 inches here. And we've heard rumors of bigger yet. Ivanhoe Lake has definitely impressed me as having high quality walleyes. High quality walleyes. What's he gonna be? Another toad walleye. Look at that. Look at that fish. All right, this is always fun, solo landing these fish. Got him. Oh, they just keep getting bigger. They literally just keep getting bigger. Wow. At the teaser at the beginning of this show, we had a fish, and I said that you'd want to stay tuned, and you definitely do want to stay tuned. Look at this. What a monster walleye. Out of Ivanhoe Lake, we're fishing out of Red Pine Lodge. My name is Mark Romanack. You've been watching Fishing 411, and I really hope you enjoyed this show, learned a little bit about crankbait fishing, and realized that big walleyes like this can be caught in the summertime. You just got to learn how to troll.
Closed captioning is provided by Cisco Fishing Systems. Innovation makes us #1. Quality keeps us there. Fishing 411 has been brought to you by Offshore Tackle, Okuma, Vicious Fishing, Northwest Ontario Tourism, Yakima Bait, and Jay's Sporting Goods.
Just what it is you've got. This one is a 4 species that you don't see often. 27 pounds of weeds. I'm serious, dude, look at it. 27 pounds of weeds.